सरू साहब अपन क्या इंतजार करेंगे?
नहीं, बस शुरू कर रहे हैं। सुनील,
बस सर 2 मिनट और वेट करेंगे। 1 minute more and then
1 minute।
ओके सर।
good morning, welcome everybody.
Your voice is breaking, sir.
And the
आपका voice break कर रहा है।
departments. Yeah, okay. Then I will invite Mr. N.K. Sinha.
पीजी साहब को बताइए ना।
Okay, I'm changing positions. Is it okay now?
Yeah, but डीजी साहब को बोलिए ना, स्वरूप साहब को इनवाइट करेंगे, वही इनॉग्रेट करेंगे। हाँ भैया, आप करिए स्वरूप साहब।
Voice clear up?
All right. I think
Yes.
I'll take on this responsibility. The
Yes.
chairman is very, very gracious, and I must thank him for all the affection that he had been always giving to me. And I welcome all of you. As a matter of fact, I am so happy that in response to our request, there is a very, very large participation today, and which generally does not happen in such kind of meetings. So I can see there is a lot of interest. The second thing that is giving me a lot of happiness is that there are a number of state government representatives at the senior level. I can see many state governments represented here, and Haryana has been waiting right from the beginning itself, which is my home state. So of course, I am so proud of Haryana for that matter, because the state is mine. So that one is good, but that does not make me partial anyway. So that's lovely to have all of you here. And let me tell you something, that it's a very interesting situation that we are now confronted with. And what is interesting about it is that many of you realize, but probably they haven't put the numbers, and I can share the numbers today. The physical infrastructure during last 25 years that we have constructed in our country, that amounts to almost 125 lakh crores of rupees. 125 lakh crores of rupees. And a very, very major share out of this comes from the urban infrastructure, the connectivity structures, the transportation structures, and that's where number of bridges have also been created. Now, it is beautiful to have huge infrastructure, and we continuously keep on constructing, which is also a very heartening thing. Huge sums of money are being invested. That is the national exchequer's investment that we are making in the infrastructure. But there is one thing which we are basically lagging behind, and very severely. That is that we have basically constructed this physical infrastructure, but there is hardly any kind of cogent and tangible effort to maintain the assets that have been constructed. As a result, we are confronted with number of problems. The last count, and that's a very, very rough count, because there is hardly any map or hardly any kind of atlas that we have created, or database, to be very simple, about the bridges and the flyovers and the kind of connectivity structures in the country. Nevertheless, the last count tells us that almost 1 million bridges of small, medium, and large size, and of course the connectivity structures, have been constructed. And that is something what we can call as national possession. national assets for that matter. How are we treating that? That's a very major question. And I'm very happy to tell you that our chairman of the group, that is Mr. N.K. Sinha, former Director General of Ministry of Surface Transport, he had been toying with this idea for almost 40 odd years. We have been having number of exchanges, and while in the services and even outside also, that is one task which he wishes to complete and rather at least make it begin. And that is the reason why we are so happy that today, in response to our request, all of you have joined, and you are the ones who own, who build, and who maintain, and who create the structures that we are going to be talking about. Maintenance is extremely important, and if we see the amount of money that needs to be invested in there, that itself is almost equivalent to 1 year total infrastructure construction of the country. That is the kind of investment that this investment requires. Now, while we are doing that, and why we are not able to do it properly is, and one of the major reasons that have been found is, rather two reasons. The first reason is that we don't have proper diagnostic people. We don't have people who we can call as road inspectors, road health inspectors. We don't have a cadre of such people. We have consultants, we have engineers who are building it, but building a structure and maintaining it are two very different cups of tea. And that is the reason why we had been mulling over this idea. And for past about 1 year, we have been talking continuously with all the highway building organizations in the country, bridge building organizations in this country, municipal corporations, local governing bodies who own the flyovers, that this is a high time that we should start looking at this particular weakness and sort it out immediately. So it's a very good day that we are now beginning onto this particular issue, and we will be discussing about how exactly this cadre of people can be prepared. But there are many more issues that we have to basically put on the anvil before all of you. And we would be welcoming your advices and your suggestions in this regard. The first thing is that let it not be a one-on, one-off type of affair. We would like to convert the whole thing into a national program. And to convert that into a national program, we shall be looking at creation of number of chapters who should be actually looking at this particular aspect and seriously give it a thrust in their local geography. After all, we are talking about a subcontinent. It's a huge, huge country. And you cannot basically handle it sitting in Delhi or Bombay or Madras or Calcutta. It has to be something which needs to spread out the country. And that is how basically we are looking at. So one of the issues is that we should be looking at formation of number of chapters where the experts or those who can basically bring in those who can bring in the expertise in this particular area, they can join hand, put our heads together and try to find out what is going to be the way ahead. The next thing that we have to look for, and very seriously, and that is that which is the organization that will be spearheading it. And in that context, actually, the initiation has been made by Construction Industry Development Council, but then we have a sister council called Construction Industry Professional Training Council, and that is going to be actually taking care of this particular thing in due course of time. We have the next very important issue, and that is that all the bridges that we have constructed in the country, may they be small, may they be large, may they be concrete construction, may they be masonry construction, may they be steel construction for that matter. Because I am aware that because of the strategic situations, Indian Army, the border road organization, and in many locations, these are basically the steel bridges that we have there. So we have to prepare a directory or a kind of a database so that a proper stock taking can happen. We know about this recent sad but hilarious news where there was a whole bridge in a state of Bihar that was basically whacked off by criminals because nobody had actually a clue as to where exactly it exists in the records. So record making is going to be extremely important for all of us, and especially for my friends from different state government public works department. So these are the kind of issues that we have to basically look at, during all these deliberations that we are are going to happen now. And this steering committee is going to be a standing committee, because this is not going to be an affair which is sorted out in just one go. This is not one on, one off type of an effort. It is a continuous effort, and I am absolutely confident that all of us are going to give it our best and make sure that this particular mission is matured and the kind of national consensus emerges. There are a few more issues that we have to think about, and that is about the kind of content of the training programs that we have there. We have tried to put together based on our own understanding and knowledge and the wisdom which we could get from many of the makers, developers, and of course the users. But then there is always a scope of improvement. So we will request the members of the steering committee to really look into the content and suggest wherever the improvements are there. We would also look at number of project sites where hands-on training organization can be done, where people can go and basically learn the things and visualize the things, because unless otherwise we really go and face the real-time situation, we cannot basically grasp and understand the knowledge totally. And all of us are going to be on the learning curve. So my request to all of you, and especially those who own the assets, that is the Public Works Department, the Highway Departments, the Indian Army, Border Road Organization, they should come forward and volunteer with the kind of project sites that can undergo some kind of a test. And it goes inter alia, the training will go together. And at the same time, we will also put down the typical features of the assets that we have in the directory, so that tomorrow, for the sake of posterity and for the next generation, they should not come back and say that our elders never took a stock of the things that they had. Very soon, we are basically going to be launching another program which is going to be of the same magnitude. And that is actually to take care of the buildings that we have constructed. But diagnostic is going to be one of the most important aspects of it. So this will follow the parallel route, and be ready, because many of you have the common interest both in the construction and owning the bridges, as well as making other structures for that matter. We will request all of you to kind of spread out the news about this particular initiative. And in the first program, we would request each one of you that please go out and enhance the participation. Let there be as many of the learners as possible to come and join this particular program. We are very sure together we are going to make it a grand success. About that, I'm absolutely confident. So once again, thank you very much. And now I think it is the time for Chairman to take over. And Mr. Sinha, kindly have a word with all our esteemed participants and honorable members of the steering group, and guide us and tell us the things. We would also like to listen from Chairman CIDC, Dr. P.S. Rana, who has joined recently, just a couple of minutes ago. And after Mr. Sinha, we would like to listen to Dr. P.S. Rana also. And followed by that, there will be all the participants who should be basically expressing their views. The agenda for this meeting has already been circulated to all of you, and we would encourage that all of you give your own views, because the number of the participants is rather large. Please make it concise and allow us to record everything so that we can basically take it further. With that, thank you once again. And Mr. Sinha, we would like to listen to you.
Thank you very much. You have really put the framework of this steering committee in the perspective. Now, I would limit myself to the actual fact what we have seen. I have been trying for this bridge inspection, and for that matter, bridge inspectors training program since 1995. Actually, I had gone to US for some training, and where I actually worked with bridge inspection, and that office was there. So that office I worked there for almost a week, and then I could know that that is a unique office, everything self-independent kind of thing, and they all had training program. That is what I was insisting in the ministry. Somehow it did not materialize. Even when I became busy, I could not force it. The important thing was that nobody was interested. That is how I have come to this stage, and I thank CIDC that they have listened to me and started this program. Now, as my friends say, you know that inspection of bridges is something very important. Otherwise, we will not be able to maintain the bridges during its the lifetime which is required to be maintained. We can't maintain it. So this is one important thing. And the important thing is that inspection of bridges by anyone in 86, 87, when Mandavi collapsed, we had some condition survey. It was a kind of quick program, and thereafter nothing happened. It just remained like that. One go program of condition survey, and thereafter no survey has been done. Thereafter, ministry started with some consultants. I was trying in my time, but it didn't happen. Ministry started consultants, but that also stopped. So finally, the important thing what is remaining here is the uniformity of procedure and policies. See, we have made all the IRC guidelines for bridge inspection, the format for bridge inspection, all these details are there. The strengthening process, the repair process, everything we have made. But it all depends on the human interaction. How understanding they are. Have they understood what is what? That is where we need training. Training makes them equivalent or all equal. Understanding in the same manner is a crack at one particular point will indicate some distress. And what kind of distress that everybody knows. So this is what training will require. That is what uniformity of procedure and policies of determining the physical condition of a bridge. That is the goal of having bridge inspectors training. And this is where I thank Mr. Swarup that they have agreed to start this program. And based on that, what I have done, we have made this bridge inspectors program in 3 levels. Level 1 is only the general about inspection and about the bridges, mainly on bridges, because many of the participants may not know the various parts of the bridge and how it is working, how structurally it is performing as a part of the bridge. So that is one, the first level. The second level, we will go for distress. That is what is supposed to be online only. But we will go for distress conditions everywhere. All parts, what it indicates and what is the type of reporting which we have to make. So those 2 things will come in the second level. The report, preparation of report, the preparation of inventory, and the type of distress conditions which we observe, and what are the inferences which we must know, and how to do it. This is another thing. So we need to have some instrumentation also. With that help, we will go and measure certain defects, certain cracks we have to measure, or some other aspects, say concrete strength we have to measure. So all those things will be just shown in the second level. The third level will be totally on site, and that is the actual inspection of the bridges. And at the end of that actual inspection, there will be a review at site only, what the trainees missed in the inspection, or what they have not done correctly, something like that. It will hold right there so that it will have the correct impact. So this is the basic approach which I have, but I would request the steering committee members that they can suggest any change, any suggestions on improvement of this one. Is always welcome. I'm not saying that I'm the authority, but I have what I have tried from my own wisdom, whatever, and from some of my friends, we have collectively made this. But your suggestions are most welcome, and we will try to improve. So that is what basically is about it. And the important thing is that this is a new cadre. There is no bridge inspectors so far in our country, and they will remain in bridge inspection. That is what is ensured. So these are two aspects which we need to understand. And with this, we will have, you can say, we can support the government also for having employment scheme, you know. And what I had calculated one time, it will be almost 10 lakhs workers, bridge inspectors, taking into account that they will be part of the consultancy program, they will be part of the contractors, and they will be, of course, they will be part of the government organization also. So all these things combined together, it will be almost 10 lakhs. But I don't go to number, but let us start this. This is what I have the request. And I request also the steering committee members to sponsor, to get more and more nominees, so that the training becomes useful. And maybe this will be repeated after some time as per your suggestions. That's all. Thank you very much. And thanks for attending. Thank you very much. Yeah, Rana Sahab, aapka kuch.
Thank you, Mr. Sinha. Actually, when we started the discussions on this topic in CIDC, it was debated time and again, and then Dr. Swarup was very particular that this is a very great need. And we realized that most of the bridges and even the buildings, once we put them, we forget the maintenance. I think maintenance is mostly neglected. And after some time, when we try to review this, we find that even the drawings and the structural drawings particularly are totally missing from the records even, because nobody even tried to maintain the records of what has gone into it. So I think then we realized that this cannot be done merely by adopting something. So the manpower, as you say, the bridge inspectors was an outcome of those discussions. That yes, first we have to create even a total inventory and database with all the specifications, designs. You know, once you put them on the soft copy, then the inventory will contain all the details of the bridge, even the thing which is hidden, the structural drawings and all those things. So I think this is a beginning. We may not be able to retrieve the drawings of the old ones, but at least a new beginning will be made, and henceforth, all new bridges also will be part of the database, and every detail of what has gone into it, what is the life expectancy, what are the loads and all, those will be available. So I think after those debates and discussions, it was considered, and with your guidance, it was felt that yes, such a team should be done. And naturally, to start anything, initially the trained manpower is required. That is why this the cadre of bridge inspectors and the training of this, because once we start implementing state after state or city after city, the trained and skilled manpower will be required. So it is the beginning we are making. It may take a lot of years to establish the system countrywide, but yes, it is a good beginning. It is better late than never. And I really thank you for taking this lead and appreciate your cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And may I request Mr. Alok Bhaumik of B&S Engineering Consultant. He is a leading highway consultant, and Mr. Bhaumik had been one of the important faculty members in the earlier introductory program that we had launched, and we would like to listen to Mr. Bhaumik. Mr. Bhaumik, please.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. Thank you. So I must, at the outset, thank Dr. Swaroop and CIDC, for uh, bringing up this concept of, training for bridge inspection. I think this is striking absolutely the right chord. That is the need of the country, the asset management, and particularly when we are talking about sustainable development. I think this is key to any sustainable development program. Now, coming to the structure of training as proposed, as Sinha Saab was just mentioning, to have three levels of training. I would feel that following things are very, very important to begin with. Firstly, there should be a clarity as to how this training program is going to benefit the people who are going to undertake the training, who all are eligible and qualified, who can be imparted this training, and whether it is only restricted to the government sector or the private sector. And once the training is taken, what would be the possibility of those people who have undergone the training to get jobs or get inducted? What is the chances that this training will be of benefit to them? And how are we ensuring in the contract documents that probably after a few years, a certified training course is a mandatory for many bridge inspection? Unless we do that, the program, which is so very essential, but it has to be also supported by the government, and making sure that end of few years, we only should entertain inspectors who have this certificate. And that is what we need to bring clarity in the program itself in the beginning. We need to discuss this. Secondly, this 3 level of certification program, I think I would suggest that one more level is required. You see, we need to have also a training program for, let's say, post-disaster inspection. For example, post-earthquake, if you have to inspect, you need to know what kind of inspection you need to do. Post-cyclone, if somebody wants to inspect the condition of the bridges and buildings, then that needs a special kind of a training. Similarly, post-flood. Thirdly, I would like to say that, we need to also bring in some modernity in our training program. We need to have these, you see, we have this special publication SP 35, which is for inspection of bridges. But in my view, that code is very, very old. It is 1990 publication. And today, in the modern days, digitization, we need to have some kind of an app-based, thing in the mobile. You should go to the site with the mobile and feed in the data and put it in the cloud. And that kind of a system also, I think the training needs to take that into account, as to we should not only train, educate people as to what is the structure and what all you need to inspect. We also need to use these modern tools. For example, drones. Drones have become a very good tool for inspection, particularly when you have a disaster. So all these things should be a part of the training. I understand that it's a very big program. And as very rightly pointed out by Dr. Swaroop, that we need to it's not a one-off kind of a thing. It has to be a continuous process. So we have to break it up and sort of sectorially, and then work for it. So I would like to listen to others also. And for the time being, this is all what I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhaumik Saab. Now that's a kind of a blueprint for further actions and improvements in the kind of things right in the beginning also. Let me just tell this thing for everybody's benefit. Construction Industry Development Council, my organization, it was created almost 26 years ago, and we started functioning within 3 months of its incorporation. And one of the major mandate that the government at that point in time gave us was to look into the kind of structured skilling program of the construction workers. That was something that was very much needed. And there were copious number of conferences, seminars, workshops, deliberations that had taken place. Of course, there were other issues also, but this is an issue worth mentioning. So we started our journey 26 years ago. And then what has happened is, over a period of time, very, very religiously, we had been sticking to it. And the dividend is very simple, that more than 1 million people today hold certificates that have been given by CIDC. The scheme has become a national flagship scheme. Organizations such as MES and Central Public Works Department and more than 80 other organizations have now made it mandatory in their own contract documents that engagement of skilled workers is a definite requirement. Otherwise, the agency who is engaging them shall be subjected to certain penalty. So what I'm trying to say that I think we have a precedence, we have an example, and that area was far tougher than what we are going to be dealing now. This one is, of course, the high technology area where people like Mr. Bhaumik and all of us put together, we have number of ideas. But the only thing is that the journey of 1,000 miles, this starts always from the first leg. So this is the first leg of the journey of the 1,000 miles. And I'm particularly happy, I mentioned that in my opening remarks also, that we have number of public works department. So I would now like to request Honorable Chief Engineer of Haryana PWD, who is representing Haryana government, to come in. They are in the series of PWDs who own these assets. So can we hear from Haryana?
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Sir, please introduce.
Good morning,
yourself.
sir. I am audible.
Yes, you are very audible, but
Sir, myself Parag Singh.
But your camera is showing half of your profile. Probably you will have to shift your seat or your camera screen.
Now I think I am visible.
Now it is somewhat.
Sir, I am Parag Singh, Chief from Haryana PWD. As far as contents of this today's meeting is concerned, this is regarding formulation of a training program for the bridge inspectors. In my opinion, initial inspection of bridges is required at the time of construction itself. If we formulate a checklist for the inspection of bridges during construction, it will serve most. During construction, if the defects are identified earlier, then these defects may be rectified at the construction itself. That may not lead to failure of the bridges. And second one is the identification of defects after the construction. During construction, if we talk about, that is a good construction practice which may avoid defects. The major defects occurs during construction due to improper placement of the reinforcement and providing a improper cover. Basically, major problems which are coming in the bridges are here therein to provide a proper cover so that this moisture do not ingress in the structure and corrosion to the reinforcement is avoided. So in my opinion, these things should be taken care of during the formulation of this training program. And second, as you have told, the identification of project site for conduct of physical training. For this purpose, Haryana may provide different project sites for the bridge inspectors for physical training. If it is required at this stage, I may, communicate some of the sites which may be provided to the inspectors for the training purposes. Sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Singh. Thank you so much. And we are basically grateful for the help that you are going to be extending. And believe you me, we'll come back to you very quickly with our request. Thank you so much, and we'll basically push on. Like Mr. Sinha spoke about, he said that the people who acquire these skills are needed not only for the contractors, they are also needed for the consultants, they are needed for even the government departments. And the issue here is not only during the construction, but also post-construction diagnostic for that matter. Can I now request Mr. P.K. Saxena, Engineer in Chief of Public Works Department, or his nominee from Public Works Department of Uttar Pradesh. PWD UP, are you there? PWD UP? Okay, then we go further. Then I would like to request Mr. Y.D. Kulkarni of PWD Government of Maharashtra. Mr. Kulkarni. Mr. Kulkarni, are you able to hear me? Okay, I move further, and this time it is going to be PWD Telangana. PWD Telangana. Okay, let me see that. Looks like that.
Yourself.
Yeah, please come in. Please come in.
Please unmute yourself, Mr. Rao.
Mr. Rao, will you please come in? PWD Telangana. Okay, Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh, please. All right. Can we have General Ashok Kumar, Director General of Works of Indian Army, ENC's branch?
Ravinder Rao is there.
Yeah, Mr. Ravinder Rao, would you like to say? I can also see all of them, but somehow I think there is some net problem. That's why they are not able to respond. Mr. Ravinder Rao. Mr. Ravinder Rao. Okay, I proceed to General Ashok Kumar, Director General Works of ENC's branch. General Ashok Kumar, please. I proceed further. Mr. Ajendra Agrawal of DRI, GR Infrastructure.
नमस्कार सर, थैंक यू स्वरूप साहब। CIDC को और स्वरूप साहब को मैं स्पेशली थैंक्स कहना चाहता हूँ कि इस डिग्निटरी और इस फॉर्म पे मुझे इंटरेक्शन करने का मौका मिल रहा है। सर, जैसा कि अपना ये प्रोग्राम है, इसमें मुझे ये लगता है सर, ये दो अलग अलग चीजें हैं। एक अपना डेटा एनालिसिस, डेटा कलेक्शन करना, और दूसरा ट्रेनिंग जो ब्रिज इंजीनियर्स के लिए। तो ये दोनों अलग अलग चीजें हैं, लेकिन दोनों का पर्पज सेम है कि अपने ब्रिज किस तरह से मेंटेन हो। और जैसा पहले बताया गया सर, कंस्ट्रक्शन के टाइम में जो अपने को ध्यान रखना है सर, कंस्ट्रक्शन में चाहे कितना भी परफेक्ट हो जाए, लेकिन मेंटेनेंस की अपनी एक रिक्वायरमेंट है, और मेंटेनेंस अपने को करना है, और उसकी हेल्थ असेसमेंट करना, उसके लिए स्पेशल ट्रेनिंग की रिक्वायरमेंट है। आज के दिन ये जो असेट्स हैं सर, ये केवल गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर और पब्लिक सेक्टर के पास ही नहीं है, प्राइवेट सेक्टर के पास में भी है। बहुत सारे कंसेशनर जो है इसमें बड़े लेवल पे इन्वेस्टमेंट किए हुए हैं। BOT में प्रोजेक्ट साइट्स हैं, हैम के प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, जिनको प्राइवेट सेक्टर ओन करता है। और ये चैलेंजेस इनके पास में भी है कि इन ब्रिजेस को किस तरह से मेंटेन किया जाए, इनके असेसमेंट किस तरह से हो। और यहाँ जो हेल्थ असेसमेंट का जो इश्यू है, केवल ब्रिजेस के लिए नहीं है, रोड्स के लिए भी उतना ही इंपॉर्टेंट है। तो अपने को ये दोनों के लिए, रोड हेल्थ और ब्रिज के हेल्थ, दोनों के असेसमेंट के इंस्पेक्टर चाहिए। सर, अपने लिए कंसर्न केवल ब्रिज के लिए इसलिए आता है कि ब्रिज में जब भी फेलियर होता है तो सबको दिखता है, और रोड के जब फेलियर्स होते हैं वो अपने को सबको उस इंटेंसिटी के साथ में नजर नहीं आते हैं। लेकिन अगर कोस्ट का देखें, अपन कोस्ट के इफेक्ट देखें सर, ह्यूज कोस्ट वेस्टेज है इन रोड सेक्टर, जो कि लगातार चलती रहती है। अपन आज के दिन जो क्रैक सीलिंग या माइक्रो सरफेसिंग से जिस तरह से उसके सॉल्यूशन दे सकते हैं, उसके कंपेयर में गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर ओवरले करता है। इवन कॉन्ट्रेक्चुअली प्रोविजन ओवरलेइंग के हैं। इस मेंटेनेंस को किस तरह से कोस्ट इफेक्टिव किया जाए, और रोड और ब्रिज की हेल्थ किस तरह से उसकी ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम के साथ में की जाए, ये दोनों के साथ में अपने को चलना पड़ेगा। और सर, डेटा जो है अपने, अगर हिस्ट्री में भी देखें सर, हिस्टोरिकली अपन डेटा कलेक्ट करते नहीं। और अगर इंटरनेशनली अपन देखते हैं सर, अभी मैं पिछले कुछ समय पहले मैं लंदन गया था, तो लंदन मेट्रो 60-70 इयर्स पहले बनी है, लेकिन आज भी वो उतनी अच्छी लगती है जितनी अपने यहाँ नई बन रही है। वो उसका कारण यही है कि वो मेंटेन्ड है। मेंटेनेंस में उनकी कॉस्ट का उतना ही वो लोग एक्सपेंडिचर करते हैं, जबकि अपने यहाँ अभी बिहार में एक गांधी सेतु जो बना था, शायद मुझे याद है 30 इयर्स या 40 इयर्स बैक बना था, उसका पूरा का पूरा सुपर स्ट्रक्चर फेल हो चुका है और अभी रिकंस्ट्रक्शन में आया है। तो अपन जो रिकंस्ट्रक्शन के अंदर ह्यूज कॉस्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट करते हैं, लेकिन मेंटेनेंस में नहीं करते हैं। इसके लिए अपने को पास में प्रॉपर डेटा होना चाहिए, उसके लिए पूरा एक आर्किटेक्चर उस तरह से स्ट्रक्चर पे बनना चाहिए जिसके ऊपर परफेक्ट आर्किटेक्चर हो, और उसके अंदर जब कोई ब्रिज इंजीनियर कुछ भी फेलियर या कुछ भी चेंजेस देखता है, तो उन डेटा को किस तरह से अपने रिकॉर्ड्स के अंदर मेंटेन करें, इसका एक पूरा आर्किटेक्चर होना चाहिए। और निश्चित तौर पे ये आज की एक बहुत बड़ी रिक्वायरमेंट है कि ब्रिज इंजीनियर और हाईवे इंजीनियर को हेल्थ असेसमेंट के रूप में एक ट्रेनिंग मिले। और इसके लिए मैं GR इंफ्रा की तरफ से हमारी एक जबरदस्त रिक्वायरमेंट भी है, और जो साइट्स अवेलेबिलिटी की जहां तक सवाल है, चाहे वो ड्यूरिंग कंस्ट्रक्शन के लिए अगर रिक्वायरमेंट है और चाहे कंप्लीटेड साइट के लिए रिक्वायरमेंट है, हम अवेलेबल करा सकते हैं। और उसके अलावा उसमें जो इक्विपमेंट की रिक्वायरमेंट है वो भी हम अवेलेबल करा सकते हैं, क्योंकि यहाँ पर सर गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर के हम समझते हैं कुछ प्रोसीजरल इश्यू होते हैं कि उसके अंदर एक एडिशनल टाइमलाइन लगती है, और हम प्राइवेट सेक्टर में बैठे हैं, तो प्राइवेट सेक्टर में ये एक्शन जल्दी हो सकता है। तो इसमें किसी भी तरह की जो तुरंत जिसके जो रिक्वायरमेंट है हम फुलफिल कर सकते हैं, और इसके ऊपर अपने को एक अच्छा एक्शन लेते हुए एक नेशनल लेवल पर ये प्रोग्राम निश्चित तौर पे सेटअप करना चाहिए। और इसके लिए जीआर इंफ्रा जितनी हेल्प कर सकता है, जो जिस तरह से भी हो सकता है, हम लोग तैयार हैं। थैंक यू।
धन्यवाद, धन्यवाद अजय जी। और मतलब मेरी हिम्मत को आपने एकदम बढ़ा दिया है। एंड आई एम so obliged to you. All of us are so happy, and everybody seems to be very generous. Now I will request Mr. S.N. Malviya of Highway Engineering Consultants to express his views. Mr. Malviya, please. Malviya साहब आप हैं? Okay, I proceed further. Can we have Mr. S.K. Mishra, CGM NHAI? Mr. Mishra, please.
Yeah, good morning, all the participants. At the outset, I would like to thank all of you for the kind of inputs that you all have given for the common cause that we have in hand, and particularly Mr. Swaroop from CIDC and the other dignitaries who are present. The construction and maintenance of bridges should be accorded priority, but the kind of priority that it deserves is not being given. I'll start right from the construction stage, and then we'll slowly move to the O&M part of it. We have to be vigilant right from the day one when the initial construction of the bridges are being undertaken. We have seen some recent fellows in our country wherein slight, maybe we're not following the road safety guidelines. We're not particular about the scaffolding that we use. We're not particular about the precautions that one needs to take while constructing a bridge. And this slight, hiccups would at times become a sort of a major failure even during the construction stage, with the parts of the bridges falling when the construction is on. So we must be particular, the bridge engineers who are there at site, the concessionaires, the contractors who are there at site, and at times it has caused human lives as well, what we have seen in the past 1 year. So of late, we have started training programs also in NHI with the support from IAHE to train those who are there at site and tell them as to what precautions they need to take. So starting from there, when we reach the stage where the bridge is constructed and it reaches into O&M phase, the kind of importance that it deserves is not being given. We construct the bridge and thereafter we forget about the maintenance. We even forget about keeping the documentation intact, as was pointed out by one of the participants. We do not keep these structural drawings safely, and whenever some mishap or some requirement of referring to drawings takes place, we don't find the drawings. So in O&M stage, starting from the record keeping, we should periodically inspect the bridges. In NHI, we have made it mandatory in our contracts for authority engineers and independent engineers to inspect the bridges every 6 months with the help of MBIO. That has been made mandatory, and that is part of their contracts part of the contract of the authority engineer and independent engineer, in addition to the inspections that the contractors do, because in HAM projects, the responsibility of the concessionaires is to maintain the entire road network, including the bridges, for 15 years. And BOT again varies from contract to contract for 25, 30 years, whatever is there in the concession period. So in addition to the responsibility that the contractors have, like GR Infra, who just brought out some issues, the NHAI has taken the additional responsibility of ensuring that these bridges are inspected regularly by the engineers who are deployed on behalf of NHAI at site during O&M stage. Though the discussion is again making rounds whether MBIO is good enough or we should utilize drone for this purpose. But then whatever methodology we devise, we must ensure that these bridges are inspected periodically and remedial measures taken. The inspections alone and then giving a report would not do, and then not acting on that report would not do. The whatever is the outcome of the report, the remedial measures must be taken. The proper intervention, timely intervention is the need of the hour. Once the deterioration has gone beyond our control, it becomes difficult for us to rehabilitate these big structures. But for that to happen, we also need to have good skilled manpower, as was brought out by many participants. We in a country do not have that much expertise, barring a few. Mr. Bhaumik will watch for it. I mean, they have been, some stalwarts from the bridge industry, they have been pursuing this issue, and we need to take it up vigorously. Training the manpower so that they know their job. When we say that the authority engineer would have a bridge expert who would be inspecting every 6 months all the bridges of the highway, he should know all ins and outs of the bridge technology. He should not be a bridge engineer on paper. He should have been properly trained. He should have acquired the desired qualifications. He should have that certificate that he has undergone all those prerequisites, trainings that are required for him to be eligible to inspect that bridge and give a solution in case the bridge requires any intervention or any repair or anything. So all these issues need to be taken up simultaneously. I mean, the emphasis on the initial construction, the diligence that we require during the O&M stage, and also for this due diligence to take place, the manpower that we require, the skilled manpower that we require to inspect the sites and tell us as to what intervention is required at what point in time. So these are the concerns that we in NHAI also keep discussing regularly. And there's also a thought that probably the codal provisions need to be revised. Maybe the kind of precautions, the kind of diligence that we need to take at site while constructing the bridge, it's not being taken, that is being diluted. So maybe, it's a time to revise the codal provisions. There's a committee already formed by NHAI in this regard as well, who are studying the existing provisions in detail, and maybe the industry experts will suggest us as to whether any revisions are required in this regard. But it's a burning issue. A lot of things are there in the bridge construction which need to be addressed properly. And we are there to support whatever, from the NHAI's point of view, whatever support is required by the industry. We are there to support the industry in this regard. If for any studies or anything you require the sites for actual inspection verifications, or for the performance study, there to extend the help that you require. With that, I'd thank you all very much, with the assurance that we are there for whatever you require from us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ji. And I guess our PWD friends have been able to set the things right. So can I request Mr. Patalia, Engineer-in-Chief from PWD Gujarat. Mr. Patalia, please. Mr. Patalia? All right, looks like that problem persists. So now it will be turn of Mr. Diwakar from Telangana. Mr. Diwakar?
Sir, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Diwakar.
Sir, our engineering chief, Sri Ravindra Rao, sir, is on another meeting, sir.
Yeah.
So, on behalf of our ENC, I am attending the meeting, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, we have a lot of bridge sites, sir.
Hmm.
Those who constructed after 1970s, and these bridges have to be inspected. And moreover, the bridge inspectors have the knowledge of design of the bridges also. Types of bridges like well foundations, pile foundations, and all the types of superstructures, uh, deck slabs, and gutter beams, and other cable stayed bridges, and bowstring guard bridges. These design knowledge and construction experience should be there for all the bridge inspectors, and a course has to be designed during taking care of all these factors. And also the drawings, the old drawings has to be reproduced for the inspection of the bridges, and all the bridge details like bearings and expansion joints, where the failures may occur, so has to be examined thoroughly. And we have a lot of bridge sites, sir. The program is very good, sir. Sir, we will encourage, we will give all the support to the program, sir. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, and please convey our best regards to your ENC. And once again, I request Mr. Patalia to come. Looks like that he has been able to set his connectivity. Mr. Patalia, please.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Patalia.
Yeah, sir. Sir,
Yeah.
we got this letter and we are happy, very happy that this type of program is conducted by the CIDC. Definitely, we will take this advantage to have a bridge inspection in the detail.
Right.
We encourage our staff and the contractors also to participate in this next month's seminar.
Good.
So we will be in touch with CIDC and we will get the good feedback. We will send the good feedback from our side also, because we are the coastal state. We occupy very huge number of bridges, which is ranging from 50 to 100-year-old, and we are also constructing the new bridges with the latest technology, and we are taking the innovation also regarding the new type of steel and the cement also.
Right.
So definitely we will be in touch with CIDC, and we hope that the good feedback will come from CIDC. Sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patalia. And like they say in Gujarati, saru che.
बहुत सारा sir.
Ekdam, bahut saru che. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Yes, sir.
Can we have someone from APRDC, Andhra Pradesh Road Development Corporation? Okay, then I will invite MSV International. MSV International, please.
Sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dang Sahab. Kaise hain aap?
Hello. Yes. Actually, I made a meeting and just came back to join because it was on mute mode for some time. Actually, I appreciate the kind of training you're starting for the bridge engineers in India. I think this is the much needed in because the scenario where bridge are collapsing or some this issues are happening with the road highways, towards maintenance and construction of bridges and highways. So I just have one, because I've been part of just various educational institutions who are imparting training, with the collaboration of foreign universities, Stanford, then Tuck School of Business, and then Northumbria University. So many institutions from abroad, they would in fact just focus more on pedagogy than the part, generally in fact training happening in the country, because many training sessions in fact in the country started, but they in fact somehow in fact were very insipid to in fact just give some to the in fact, people who are getting training from these institutions. So people still prefer in fact going abroad to get in fact training and have edge. So I think pedagogy has to be more important, where we should focus. Like more of the in fact, universities like they would depend on data first. So analysis is more important. When you just teach something, so you must have data in hand, where in fact you're going to interpret that, how it happened, where in fact things lacked, so that we can just go back to in fact things and discover something wrong where it happened, and track back and then recorrect things, so that in fact things fall in shape. So without in fact having data in hand, it is very difficult in fact, because more of the training sessions generally in fact in part theoretical training. So practice part in fact somewhere in fact just gets down. It is ignored, I believe. So that must be something I think looked into. So this is what exactly I want to just give my perspective on this. So I think rest everything is wonderful. Things are going better because something is happening for the good, and we are all part of it, and we'll definitely get fuse enthusiasm, and so that people in fact just get benefited and work for the country in a better shape, and the country MSV also in fact just appreciate, because they also nowadays in fact there's a big in fact just challenge of finding good bridge engineers and other engineers, because NHI has in fact started recently scrutinizing through interview the candidates, and through Infracon, though we have been selecting all these candidates still. So through when interviews are happening, so many candidates are not able to in fact just answer, because they somewhere in fact either theoretically or practically they are not able to in fact correlate things, and they fail. So this is what the scenario in fact where I think this training is very important, I believe. So they will in fact give them hands-on information, and also in fact just give them understanding, basic understanding, because in the country it is much required. Reason being, the soil of each part of the country is different, and it's seismic zone. There are various seismic zones in the country. So this is very important, I believe, where engineers are trained specifically in certain areas. They specialize and they become good engineers for the country, for the growth of the country. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It was lovely, and I think we'll take your suggestion. But then at the same time, I am very happy to understand that you have assured all the help and support and participation. And that is what we'll be looking for. And let us make it popular. That's the whole idea.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me request Mr. Nayak, Element Infra. Mr. Nayak, can you please come in? Mr. Nayak. Mr. Nayak, have you unmuted yourself? Okay, then I will go to Mr. Ajit Mishra of Dedicated Freight Corridor, Chief General Manager of DFCCIL. Ajit? Oh, Mr. Nayak is here. Mr. Nayak, yes. Mr. Nayak, please.
Yes, sir, coming, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, video is not showing anything.
Yeah, Mr. Nayak?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let us hear you.
Yes, sir, the video is not working, this camera. I think it is a problem. I don't know.
Not a problem. Please go ahead. I know
yes,
that there are a number of places there are problems of connectivity. Please go on.
Yes, sir. I am working in this LLM Infra as a senior bridge design engineer and working from head office and monitoring so many projects in SQC as well as design projects.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, what we are facing, the design review and another is construction.
Yeah.
Sometimes what happens,
Yeah.
whatever design approved, that is not properly monitored or properly placed, and question always is not placed.
Mr. Nayak, what you can do, you can basically summarize your observation and send it to us. And
Yes, sir.
while evolving the course, we will take that into account. Please send
Yes,
it
sir.
to Mr. Sunil Mahajan, and that will be very helpful. And we
Yes, sir.
will also look for your help coming through making available to us various sites, so you can speak to your chairman and managing director and proceed
Yes.
from there. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So can I go to Ajit Mishra? Ajit? Ajit, are you there? Okay, I will call Mr. Ratnavel, S. Ratnavel. Ratnavel, unmute yourself, please. Okay, I proceed to Mrs. Lakshmi. Mrs. Lakshmi.
Good morning, all. I'm very happy that like CIDC has made a big beginning for this bridge inspector certification program at national level. And also very happy to see the chief engineers of various state PWDs, and from NHAI, the CGM himself, he was there. And there is no doubt that this cadre is required. And also, I agree with Dr. Swaroop's suggestion that being a national level program, some chapters will have to be created for imparting the training. But the first thing is, like, we have to standardize the course content and also training of trainers. That is also important. And there was one suggestion that we need to include the inspection of bridges after construction, soon after the construction, to identify the construction defects. In fact, why the construction defects comes? Because of poor construction practice or lack of quality control. Maybe that will give a chance to another sort of training to another set of people for quality control and quality assurance of bridges. That I think we can think separately. But here, with respect to the bridge inspection, as Mr. Baumik suggested, actually we need to identify like who are eligible to attend this program, because that will help us like to deliver this particular training program. And one important aspect, what happens when people inspect bridge is there could be some subjectivity that is likely to come with the visual inspection. So this training program should aim to minimize the subjectivity in the bridge inspection. So that is one aspect. And also I am thankful that many of the chief engineers, they volunteer to give their project site or existing bridges for inspection. But I think as a steering committee, we need to identify the type of bridges which are required very close to the different chapters, so that like the people can be, the trainers, the trainees can be taken there, and we can also use them to judge whether they have understood the defects correctly or not. And Mr. Baumik talked about the latest technologies coming like drone, MBAU and all such things for inspection. That is true, like those things also can be used for inspection. That will enhance the, it will help to reduce the, you can say, subjectivity, but there are certain limitations with respect to the drones at this particular juncture. Maybe after a few years that will be coming up. So an overview about the latest technologies that can be used for inspection, that can also be added in the curriculum. So these are some of my suggestions. Thank you, sir.
And now may I request once again Mr. Ajit Mishra to come in?
Yeah, good afternoon to everyone. Sorry for I was missing my link as I am traveling. So please excuse me for that. So
Don't
in
worry.
this regard, good afternoon, Dr. Sarup. It's really my pleasure to be in this meeting of esteemed and distinguished experts. As you all aware that I belong to railway fraternity, and I had been with Indian Railways for over 20 years, and presently I am with the dedicated freight corridor. This is also a railway running organization. My contribution to this particular forum or subject will be that while Indian Railways has very established bridge maintenance system for standing over 150 years or so, this freight corridor is a new organization where such a system is being devised to be in place or being introduced as of now. So at one hand, we have experience of 150 years of maintenance expertise, and at the same time we are introducing a maintenance system to a very nascent organization. So we are keeping pace with both the things and taking out the best of the existing system, as well as we are trying to introduce the world's best technology and maintenance practices available into our new system. In this regard, I would like to call attention of you all people that whatever small and significant contribution you all can do in setting up a new maintenance system within our organization, that is most welcome. And at the same time, whatever experience we have or whatever practices we are going to adopt, I would like to share with you all so that you further extend those to existing other departments, especially the PWD and PWDs and CPWDs and other organizations. So this is all as of now from my side, that we are open for further suggestions and contributions from your end. At the same time, we would also like to contribute to other departments from our experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. May I invite anybody else who is from the state PWDs who has not spoken, please?
Sir, your voice is not clear, sir.
I am inviting people from the state PWDs. Is it clear now? Hello?
Be a bit louder. Mahajan, be a bit louder.
Okay. I'm inviting people from state PWDs who have not spoken so far. Can you hear me now?
So it seems all the state PWDs are covered, so take others.
Yeah, okay. Any organization which has not been called upon?
Hello.
Hello.
Sir, this is from ACCE.
Okay, right.
Association of Consulting Civil Engineers. This is Professor Ashwath. I'm
Yes.
sorry I joined little late, but as I got from information, whatever possible support is there from our side and in promoting this program and enrolling the people, we will do our best to the program, sir, and support in all respects.
Mr. Asot, your organization ACC is one of the, let's say, cutting edge people who train people, who guide people. I mean, the best consultants are your members. I think how many thousand you are there now? How many?
Sir?
What is the current membership now? 4,000?
It is almost 6,000, sir.
Great. I mean, your people have been doing a human job in giving guidance to people on, various aspects, and many of you are very specialized in roads. So you're welcome to have interacted with us, and I hope your members will be joining in the program.
Thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
doctor. Thank you, doctor. Thank you. It is very heartening and very nice to hear you. And we will now go to anybody else who would like to say something. I hope Mr. Ratnavel is here. Mr. Ratnavel?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Ratnavel. Where are you? Come in.
I am here only, sir. I am just listening.
Please come in. Please come in. No meeting is ever completed without our listening to Mr. Ratnavel. Okay?
Anyway, my past president, Professor Aswath, is a very capable man, and he addressed on behalf of ACC. However, I am part of CIDC, and I request all the participants to engage minimum of 4 delegates. If you engage 4 delegates, we will get minimum of 120 people. The very important thing of this program is, we have to enhance the durability, and we have to enhance the life cycle of these bridges. Whatever money we invested in the name of taxpayers' money, it is very, very important. And then this kind of initiative is not done in the past. But I request our CIDC Director General to create alternative SOPs, 1, 2, 3, something like that, so that every state government will follow this kind of SOPs, so that we will increase the lifetime the performance of the bridges, and people will come to know it. It is a very important topic, because being involved in this kind of because I've been involving in not only bridge design, I am also involving in this health monitoring and all these things. I have inspected a lot of bridges. I have a lot of distress. But the government must come forward to spend money for the maintenance. It is very important. First inspection, we have to identify, and we have to identify the distress and everything. Then the government must allot the money very immediately with the experts, and we have to correct those distresses. Otherwise, no point in doing all these things. So this is what I am expecting. Anyway, that's all. Thank you, sir. I have listened to you, and most of the people, they have mentioned about the program and all these things. Now, I request all the government representatives, please allot some money for the maintenance. Then only we shall be able to protect our investment in the name of bridges and all these things. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ratnavel. And can I have anybody else who has been left behind? I can see a few names, but then anybody whosoever would like to come in? Mr. Shiv Sankaran? Or Mr. Ranjit Verma? Mr. Pankaj Vishal? Okay, I believe that this basically completes expressions from all of you who were present, and we will be basically hosting the recording of these proceedings on CIDC YouTube channel, and the link will be provided to you so that you can go through that, and those who have not been able to connect, they can also have a look at it. And as a matter of fact, we'll send it to all the members of the steering committee for the sake of record, and summaries, etc., will be sent to you so that the actions can thereafter be taken. With that, I think we come to the close of this session. And may I now request Chairman of the steering committee, Mr. N.K. Sinha, to say give a few closing remarks. Mr. Sinha, please.
Thanks very much. I'm really very grateful to all the members that they have expressed support to this program. And actually, it's a very burning topic, but we had missed this point. And a number of suggestions have come. I have noted them, and in fact, as Dr. Swarup mentioned, that these will be on the YouTube, so we can always get back to them, and we will incorporate as much as possible in the program and come back to you in the next session. As Mr. Swarup mentioned, that this is a continuing steering committee. So we'll come back on whatever actions have been taken. So with these words, I really thank you very much. Thank Dr. Swarup and thank all of you. Thank you.
One more member has joined, and Meenal Dehadrai from Nagpur. Meenal, would you like to say something?
Sir, I joined very late, so I don't know what was going on. I could just listen to Ratnavel sir and your.
Okay. All right. Don't you worry. We'll have the recording hosted. Go through that and send your comments. Rajkumar, are you there?
Yeah.
Rajkumar, are you there? So I think it is time to say thank you so much, and we will start cracking on this. Kindly make sure that you disseminate the information and help us raise the number of participants in this program. And believe you me, they will be benefited throughout their lifetime. With that, I declare this meeting closed with the permission of chair, and we'll meet soon, and you'll hear from us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.